Good evening, everybody. This is Mellissa Thomas with Florida National News, coming to you with the nightly news rundown for Thursday, April 23rd. Thanks so much for taking the time to check us out tonight. We know there's a lot going on, especially with the NFL draft coming up. So, we're just going to head right into the COVID-19 updates for you guys. So, for the numbers for today, we have 2.54 million confirmed cases, 175,000 plus deaths, unfortunately. Here in the United States, we're at 800,000 confirmed cases with 40,000 deaths. And here in the state of Florida, we are close to 29,000 confirmed cases and 960 deaths today. So in New York City, the state of New York City, or excuse me, the state of New York, Governor Andrew Cuomo announced that 21% of New York City residents actually have tested positive for the COVID-19 antibody, which is a major update for those who have been hearing about the antibody tests. So in New York City itself, 21% of those residents have tested positive for the antibody. Throughout the state, it was 13.9%. And there were 3,000 people in the state of New York who were tested. So stay tuned here as we continue to give you guys those updates. Internationally speaking, where COVID-19 is concerned, the UK government is getting some pushback, according to the health officials there, for taking too long with the coronavirus response over there. Now, what the health officials are saying, particularly the chief medical advisor, they're saying that the social distancing measures will have to carry through all the way until the end of the year and perhaps beyond that. So as of right now, the UK is the fourth in Europe with the highest number of deaths, clocking in at over 18,000. So stay tuned right here as we continue to keep you guys updated with all things COVID-19. Moving on to some US news. You probably heard some of the news this morning, earlier today, that Senator Elizabeth Warren unfortunately lost her older brother, Don, at the age of 86 years old to COVID-19. He was an Air Force pilot, so condolences to their family during this time of loss. As many of us know, the coronavirus is particularly dangerous to those who are in their senior years. In other US news that is unrelated to COVID-19 that compounds the effect, more severe weather has hit in certain regions of the country. So earlier this week, you heard me talk about Alabama and Georgia and parts of Louisiana that got hit with some severe weather. From last night leading into today, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Texas, and parts of Georgia got hit with severe weather. What you're seeing here is an image from Onalaska, Texas, which was particularly ravaged by some apparent tornadoes. The Associated Press is reporting around 9 suspected tornadoes that took place over the last 24 hours between Oklahoma and Texas getting hit the hardest. Louisiana, there were some unfortunate deaths there, of course. Right now, the current death toll is at least 7 dead that the AP is reporting. Over 150,000 businesses from Texas all the way up to Georgia are currently without power. So keep your eyes peeled for updates with regards to that. Obviously, a lot more is going on with the world other than COVID-19. So also keep your eyes peeled and stay tuned right here. We'll make sure to keep you as updated as possible with things that are happening. Now, moving on to right here in the state of Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis is, as you heard earlier this week, he's eager to reopen the state. So right now, in the staggered approach, you'll start to see hair salons and barbershops start to open. That's one of the first business types that he's looking to reopen. So for those of you who have been fiending, you have quarantine beard, maybe your hair needs a little bit of fixing. The hair salons and barbers are one of the first sets of businesses that the governor is looking to reopen. The biggest one that is in talks, of course, are the attractions. So the CEO of Universal Orlando is looking to reopen the theme park in a staggered approach that observes social distancing. And the measures they'll use to observe social distancing are virtual lines, mobile orders for food, for concessions, to keep things safe and spaced out for those who still want to come and enjoy the park in a careful way. Moving on to business news, the biggest announcement comes today after the House actually had their opportunity to go to the floor to talk about the stimulus bill. So the end result of this particular stimulus bill, it's reported to be 484 billion. We talked about this yesterday. 484 billion is the total for this one, with over 300 billion dedicated to refilling the Paycheck Protection Program. The bit that you may not have heard yet is that 60 billion will be allocated to restocking the SBA disaster loan, which ran out of money roughly 2 weeks ago. And as you heard from us yesterday, 75 billion will go towards hospitals and medical facilities, while 25 billion will go towards the funding of expediting testing throughout the United States of America. The other detail as well is that within the over 300 billion that's meant to stock up the PPP, there's also $60 billion earmarked in there specifically for small lenders, which is a measure that the House Democrats were pushing for. So wanted to give you guys an update on that. That's very important for those who are still working and waiting for funding or the opportunity to apply for funding, given how confusing the first round of aid was. Now, jumping over to entertainment news, Queen Bey, as everyone knows and loves Beyonce, she has actually teamed up with Twitter's Jack Dorsey to help communities of color during the time of COVID-19. Her Bay Good organization has teamed up with Jack Dorsey's Start Small organization to provide $6 million in relief to organizations and nonprofit groups that help people get the necessities they need. So with food drives, funding for businesses, all manner of necessities in cities like Detroit, Houston, New York City, and New Orleans. So congratulations to Beyonce, as folks in such communities would say, good looking out. Absolutely awesome to be a champion for social justice. In other entertainment news that is not so pretty for those who are comic book nerds or who love to hear the most up-to-date news about big Hollywood productions, unfortunately, this year's San Diego Comic-Con is officially canceled. Not postponed, canceled. What Comic-Con has decided to do was to keep their 2021 date as normal in July. And what they've offered to do is either refund Comic-Con goers their tickets, or Comic-Con goers can actually roll their ticket prices over to the 2021 Comic-Con event. So one way or another, you're not completely left hanging. So you can either get your refund or simply roll the fee over to next year. So if you're a comic nerd or a big movie fan, better luck next year. And over to a couple of quick sports updates. Now, you heard us bring the story yesterday about South Dakota hosting 2 races this weekend. Originally, the races would have happened with a limited audience under measures of social distancing. However, as of today, after some pressure from Governor Noem, health officials, and the CDC having to step in a little bit, the 2 raceways have decided to do it without an audience. So both races will take place, but they will do it with no attendees, no spectators. So that is the update we wanted to provide you guys with that. And of course, it's NFL draft night. The update we wanted to give you guys with regards to that is that this event, given that it is the one live sporting event that is happening, much in the way that we provided you the update about the jump in ads, since it's a fresh live event, there's also a jump in bets that are being wagered on this. It is setting records in a way, given the fact that it's the one live sporting event that is happening, albeit virtually. This year, there have been $5 million in wagers already placed for the NFL draft, compared to last year's only 1 million. So huge spike there. Again, welcome to the new normal. But for those of you who are chomping at the bit to enjoy the NFL draft, you've got about 19 minutes before it starts. And speaking of the NFL draft, be sure to continue to stick around at FloridaNationalNews.com here on Facebook and on YouTube as our own Casey Hudson continues to provide you with special NFL draft coverage. She provided her quick rundown earlier this evening, and we'll be back tomorrow and Saturday to provide you continued updates. As for me and the Nightly News Rundown, that is it for us here tonight. Thank you so much, as always, for your time. We appreciate you guys sticking around. We appreciate you tuning in to our show. Enjoy the NFL draft, the first round, and leave a comment. Leave us a comment, whatever your thoughts are on the NFL draft or any of the news stories that we've shared with you tonight. Be safe and have a great night. Enjoy.